Can we pass the microphone? Practice.
No, that was a situation the same as last year. We didn't have a challenge match. We went straight into the league match, and it didn't seem to cause us any problems. And I'm sure it won't be a problem come next Saturday.
A very similar structure to Eastbourne's team to what we've had in recent seasons. But these guys have already said it, a bit more experience in there, both home and away now.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and in 2011, this team structure did us well and got us to the playoff final. We got a very similar team structure for this year, but they've got that bit more experience, and I think we've got an even stronger team than 2011, which again, you know, is why I'm optimistic about this year.
Another advantage, as I've said previously, we've got experienced guys down at reserve now, with the potential to move up into the team and force some of the guys on much higher averages into a massively prolific point scoring role at reserve.
Well, absolutely. I'm sure that Lucas and Dennis will want to try and fight their way into the main team. The other riders won't want to be dropping down to reserve. So yeah, there's that incentive there for all of them to do well.
A bit of a requirement for a kind of step up in pace in terms of away meetings, because often Arlington's being talked about as a fortress, but the points don't always come in the same way away from home.
No, but we have had some good away performances over the last couple of seasons, and I'm sure that we can repeat that this year.
Some of the clubs have struggled financially in the last couple of seasons. Can you just give sort of the readers an idea of how well set Eastbourne are at the moment as a club?
I think we're very well set up. I mean, we've always kept a tight rein on the finances here to make sure that our expenditure wasn't exceeding our income, which is the key to any sports club's survival these days. And that's what we do here. As I say, we'll make sure that we're not spending more than we've got coming in.
In the same vein as that question, short-term aims are obviously to try and take trophies, but what do you see as a medium or a longer-term aim for the club?
Well, winning trophies is the aim, to be a successful team. We want to emulate teams like Poole and be at the top, you know, and be there for the long term. You know, that's got to be the aim.
What have we done on the commercial front for this season? Because recently there have been quite a lot of quite innovative new ideas that have been coming in. Yeah,
and there are more this year, and obviously the good news as well is we've got Lifestyle back as the main team sponsors. You know, we've kept our partner sponsorship, and obviously Chris McDonald has been able to build on that. So again this year, well, I'm sure we're going to have a very good year commercially as well.
And is there any more incentives to get more bums on seats, as it were, and get more fans?
Oh, absolutely. It's something we've been working on right through the winter. Paul Watson on the commercial side, on the communication side of things, has been working to improve those communications wherever we can, which is why obviously you're here today. You know, we're building up those relationships with all the media to ensure that the message gets out to as many fans as possible. That's the aim. You know, we've got a new look website up and running this season, which I think is looking great. We've got some other ideas as well to improve the communication side of things. So we want to get that message out, as I say, to as many people as possible to get them here to Arlington on a Saturday night.
On the promotion side, it's easier said than done, isn't it? Obviously, you've got plenty of experience in trying to put people in. It's not an easy task to do.
No, it's not. But we're not complacent about this. You know, we're trying new things the whole time. You know, apart from the new look website this year, we're distributing leaflets locally, door to door, in the area. So as I say, the whole time we're looking to improve communications and get the message out to more and more fans.
And with that promoter's hat on, what can British Speedway do as a whole to carry on delivering the message? Because obviously you've got a localised plan.
Yes.
Is there anything centrally that British Speedway can do to keep plugging that message in?
Well, I think it's really repeating what we're doing locally, isn't it? As I say, to involve the media and to use all the means that there now are of communicating with fans, because those means have increased over the years, and it's making sure you take full advantage of what is out there to get those messages across.
What was roughly your average sort of attendance last season?
Well, it's around about 1,000 as the average attendance, and obviously we're looking to build on that this year. Obviously, fans haven't had any Speedway since last September. We've got the Good Friday meeting coming up, which is always a well-attended meeting. So if we could increase those attendances, and it would be fantastic. If we could get a crowd here of 1,500 for all the meetings, that would be absolutely superb.
We've spoken a lot about the structure of the team and the experience within the team, but what do you see as key to this team's success this season?
I think we've got 7 riders here this year that they all want to be here, and we want them all here. I wouldn't change any of them, for anyone else really. I'm pleased with the 7 we've got, and I think it is a similar sort of structure that we've had previous years, but. I think Bjarne's we're certainly stronger at the top end now with Bjarne there, and I know that the other 6 and that will, have all got room for improvement on previous years, and they're all desperate to improve anyway.
I think the thinking recently from promoters has changed slightly when they're building their teams, because the times when we've had, 2 really experienced, high average riders at the top of the team, it does tend to unbalance you at reserve. And reserves can take up to 7 rides, so a big advantage to have 2 strong reserves.
That's right. Even when I look at the pool team now, I know they're strong at the top end, but they look pretty weak to me lower down. And like most of the lower order riders and the reserves, when they come to Eastbourne, they'll be scared shitless when they see Lucas and and Dennis. And the team's always going to be like that at Eastbourne. Yeah, whoever's at reserve.
You're living with all of these riders, so you've got an objective point of view. Who is really the joker of the bunch?
Probably Simon, I should think, yeah. They're all about as good as each other, really. They all give well.
You're going to have a lively lifestyle then this season?
Yeah, it started already, yeah. Yeah.
In terms of just keeping that team spirit together, it does seem to be quite a lot easier for you in the sense that whereas other teams do have to chop and change regularly because of team building restrictions, Eastbourne does have a core family unit that seems to stay the same. It
does, and if a rider is struggling, they all have bad spells and they struggle with setups and this and that, rather than sort of ship them out and that, we'd rather help them really and get them back on track, to scoring points again.
Who's the rider that you see this season making the biggest improvement in the team? I didn't promise to make it easy.
No. I think we can see great things from Timo this year. I think Dennis is going to be a big improvement. Simon improves a little bit every year, and I think he's going to carry on doing that. And I think that they're all going to improve a little. I think, Lucas, a lot of them, yeah. And Cam is desperate to have a good season this year, and he's invested a lot into it as well with equipment and everything, and set up, and they're all 7 professional riders now. They all want to do, give 100%. So.
We've spoken to Adam. Just a few words from yourself about Adam, because obviously having him in the team, he knows this track inside out, and he comes on a bit of a lower average courtesy of a bit of a tough spell. Yeah,
Adam will have a good season. Now I know that he'll soon. He might struggle the first few weeks now, but he'll soon pick up and get back into it, and we'll see some big things later on in the year when we need it, when it comes to the playoffs, hopefully.
And a few words about Bjarne as well. An experienced number one who now knows this track. He's had spells with the team. Expecting big things of him as well.
No, great number one, and we know what Bjarne's capable of doing and that, and I think it's going to be a good season.
Mike just mentioned about the attraction of Good Friday with Lakeside coming down. Do you think it'll be memories of last Good Friday and any sort of revenge or particular incentive to do well?
Yeah, we always want to get one over on them anyway, don't we? Really, so that we'll be doing our best anyway.
When there was a suggestion that more teams go for a strength in depth, looked at what Eastbourne did 2 years ago with
yeah. When Mike and I go away to promoters meetings and that, like every promoter, says to us, "God, we'd love to have your team," But it's not easy to build a team like this. There's quite a shortage of riders out there, and I think we're lucky here.
It's a strategy that's been built up through time as well. Having a lot of these guys have started at very least their Elite League career with Eastbourne.
Yeah, and they all know what Eastbourne's about and the setup and that, and the spirit is, they all get on great together and that, and all want to help each other. Yeah, it couldn't be better that way.
Do you think you've put together a team that can improve on the road and put better performances away from
Yeah, that's where we got to do it and that, and I think, I'm sure that we will do it this year.
Toughest away track to visit, what would that be in your view?
I always think of the likes of Peterborough and that, but then very often we do, we ride pretty well around there. We've surprised them a few times and that, and like King's Lynn I always think's a tough one, but they seem to score points around there, so let's hope this year we can pull it off and get a few points.
There have been a few suggestions from the riders that they've had a little sneaky look over their shoulder at some of the other teams that have been built, but their focus tends to be on their own performance. I suppose you've been looking in more detail at the other teams.
Not really. I know that we're capable of beating all of them, really. So I'm sure that we can do that.
Any ideas to some of the strongest rivals we're going to face? You've already said that you're not worried about Paul. What about King's Lynn?
Yeah,
King's Lynn and Swindon?
Yeah, I think King's Lynn, they're always tough on that, but I think they're one of the main ones that but I honestly think that we can beat them anyway.